You're tuned into Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rislone. This week, an all-out Aussie assault hits Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo, and we shed raid Hamilton's quiet achievers, Jonesies. But first, our mates at Maguire's send us to meet the Green Go, a USA born and bred nostalgia front-engine dragster that's now the centrepiece of a race to the sixes between Kiwi father and son co-pilots Kendall and Dylan Smith.
Well, when the time that car starts, you've got nothing else to think about except for what's going on. And I think that's the biggest attraction for me. It's just the full-on, you're there, you're doing that thing. Doesn't matter if the world's falling down around you. That's what's going on. The speed, the sensation, the noise, everything that goes with it is the adrenaline, the drug, whatever you want to call it.
I think the style of that car is timeless. That car was built new back in the mid-60s, late 60s. It would have been cool then, just like it's cool now. Like, I'm probably biased, but to me that's the coolest dragster in the country. I love it.
The car came to New Zealand when the Americans came out and raced in Taupo. Dylan came along to us and says, hey, the Americans are looking at selling some of these cars. The initial thing was we was going to have a look at the Mickey Thompson funny car. He was a little bit undecided, and then Randy came along and says, yeah, I'll sell this. The funny story about it is I couldn't have the car. It had to go back to America and come back to me because I'd already done it because of the legality thing for customs, and so I had to wait 3 months before it came back to us. You know, we're jumping out of a 10-second car into a 7-second car, so it was all a bit of a scary damn thing, and got it home and we didn't know what the hell we were doing with it, and you know, we even got on YouTube to figure out how to pack parachutes.
Yep, it might have been one heck of a step up in slotting behind the wheel of the Green Go, but the Smiths had a solid head start on the mechanical side. Kendall's business, Cruisin' Customs in Palmerston North, is a workshop you'll know from a few serious cars we've featured previously. And although not in 7-second cars, Kendall has clocked up his fair share of seat time down the quarter. Dylan, as you can imagine, had little chance of not following in his dad's oil-stained footsteps, and after a stint in the States, has joined the Cruisin' Customs crew as a fabricator. So, scene set, back to the Green Go.
It's technically a front engine dragster, so it's an FED or a FED. It's a 140-inch wheelbase, so you sit over the diff, gearbox in front of you, motor in front of you. It's a 1939 Fiat Topolino body. It's got quite a bit of history. That body came off Flaming Frank Pentagon's car. Things like the steering box, etc., come off one of Tom McEwen's. The body panelling from underneath is all out of Don Garlett's car. The chassis is a new chassis that was built in 2001, but it was off a 1969 Jig. It's got a Mark Williams rear end in it with a 3.5 diff ratio. It's got a Reed's race power glide in it. The engine is a 509 Big M dart block with AFR CNC heads, 1071, Kelly's crank, GRP rods, Endley fuel injection. Currently our best time is 713, I think it is, at 189 mile an hour, and we're chasing the tune to get it back to hit that 6.
And there's some stiff competition to get that 6-second ET first. It's not from the car in the other lane either.
I had an incident with a motorbike and a sheep, and I broke my collarbone and a couple of ribs, so Dylan jumped in and was like, oh crap, this is going to be interesting. I
think we bunny hopped down the track to like a 13.5 second whatever, and I thought I was going fast, but time slip said otherwise, and I jumped in at the next meeting after Dad fell off a motorbike. First run I think was a 12, and then we went into a 9, and then an 8, then a 7. So yeah, we haven't been out of the 7s since then.
Never look back. He's going to go faster than I am. There's no doubt about it. He won Rookie of the Year, 2nd in the championship. This is a guy that never jumped in a car ever. So he's awesome.
And with Dylan claiming the hot seat all to himself for the upcoming season, he'll certainly be pushing for the title of quickest Smith in the family. he's quietly also got one eye on a red hat for hitting 200 miles an hour. Big goals. However, we're talking about a young guy clocking low sevens after a mere handful of passes down a drag strip. But we'd be kidding to claim it's only about the numbers. The real deal is honouring and adding a Kiwi chapter to this iconic Feds history and having a whole lot of fun doing it.
Well, I hope we're doing it proud at the end of the day, and the big skids, and it's all part of the show. It's all about show. We're lucky we've got a car that looks the way it does the skids the way it does, and goes the way it does. And those experiences is just what it's all about. When it gets out of shape, everyone goes, "Oh, they got out of shape." And I said, "No, man, that was cool. You're driving it, you're doing the thing." It's awesome.
Right, thanks to our mates at Mount Shop, we're back shed raiding. This week, Jonesy's, a no-fuss Hamilton workshop, happy to play the role of the Waikato's quiet achiever.
We don't have the open days and we don't have the get-togethers quite like some of the other guys are having, but that's not what really we're about here. We're about doing the job. None of the stuff is cheap to do anymore, and there's not many places you can go. Even your local garage are starting to not know much about how to even work these cars, service these cars, sort out the suspension, do the tune-ups, etc. That's where we step in, and here we are down the back on the side street, but we're doing the same work as everybody else is doing, but in our own way, with our own style.
There's been a few changes at Jonesy's of late. Don Jones has called time on his career, and Dane stepped into the shoes of manager. And while Dane's enjoying putting his spin on the place, what hasn't changed is the commitment to building quality cars, be it the full Woe2Go service or stepping in for the smaller tasks along the way.
Effectively, we're building the cars we would build for ourselves every week for other people. Every car we build or work on or whatever is treated like our own masterpiece. I love helping people through situations that they might not be able to deal with themselves or know how to handle or how to finish it or do whatever, That's what really gets me going every day. I'm 100% a fan of a car that's been built to be driven, so I want a car to handle nice and drive nice, steer nice, have comfort. I mean, all cars look cool on the ground, there's no two ways about it. But a static car that is low and drives real nice and handles good, that's the car for me.
Two recently completed cars sum up that game plan rather nicely. We checked out Colin and Kerry's stunning Buick sedan a while back. Not so static and ride high, but the Buick sure makes a great cruiser, finished to a standard far greater than when it left the factory. The most recent full build is this one right here, Stefan and Tony's 57 Chevy.
Come in quite a few years back. It was a baby blue car, right-hand drive, just a sort of beaten up, sort of old New Zealand 57 Chev. It started off, it was going to just get a paint job. They decided that the colour they wanted wasn't baby blue, so then we sort of had to go down the road of, well, you've got to paint inside the doors, the dash, the trunk, the under the hood. Obviously it eventuated into, oh, well, you can't put old chrome on this nice paint, and then the upholstery doesn't match this nice paint, and then so forth. It's ended up that it's on a different chassis and it's got a injected motor and all that carry on as well, So yeah, it's a fabulous car, and we've had to put guards and rear quarters and all that carry on it. But yeah, it's a really, really nice car, right-hand drive, just different to the rest.
No rocket science needed to tell this Waikato workshop has a thing for Chevrolet. In particular, they're well known as the go-to guys for all things early Chevy 6s. While the lowrider and bomb stock may have thinned since Don Jones hung up the tools, the Bowtie connection is still alive and well, be it the classic stuff or the new, in this increasingly LS-powered hobby.
If anyone wants to do that plan, well then that's what we go along with. If they want to go down a fuel-injected plan, well then that's the way we'll go with that as well, But yeah, the six-cylinders definitely, I get phone calls every day for six-cylinder gaskets, pistons, rings, bearings, cams, valves, everything. So yeah, they're still out there in people's worlds.
With everything from Aston Martins to Zephyrs stretched over a 300ZX frame, muscle cars to, period correct, sport trucks, it'd almost be a surprise not to find a few bikes under the knife too.
built bobber bikes and different bits and pieces over the years and tinkered with bikes. And when I came here, Willie was into a different style of bike. People would have seen some of his board trackers that he's built. Him and I together can build our version of what a good looking bobber bike is. A friend of ours, Dave, saw a job that I did for another customer on a bike, and he come flying down. He's like, "Oh, can you guys do it?" I was like, "Yeah, man, of course we can do it." So next thing he turns up with a whole Sportster and a frame and a Springer front end, and I think we've had the bike maybe 10 weeks, and you'll see that we've progressed a long way in 10 weeks with this bike. It's going to be a cool thing.
15 years down, and while some things have changed, other things haven't one little bit.
We're just happily down the back. We don't care what everyone else is doing. We're just doing our thing. Down the back streets, finishing cars, building bikes. And yeah, it's cool, living the dream.
Protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up. Available at participating stores near you.
Welcome back to Repco Muscle Garage. Right, thanks to our mates at Rizlone, we're off to Taupō, where a damp old day couldn't hold back an all-Aussie assault. Rain or shine, this one-day event is for the drivers. Run what you've run.
It's targeting everyone. It is a chance for anyone and everyone to get involved and just go and enjoy your vehicle, whether it be a stock standard Holden V6 or an XR6 Falcon, right through to these 1,000 horsepower monsters and HZ Premiers and whatnot. You can expect to see a whole lot of cruise sessions, what we like to call the cruise sessions, sort of a drive your mates thing. It's a novelty day, I suppose. The majority of it and a big part of it is to get out on the international motorsport circuit that is Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park here in Taupō. And it's just to get your road car out there, give it a stretch its legs. You know, you can't do things on the road that you can do on a motorsport park track. We are sort of limited, I guess, to speed. There's no speed limit out there, but obviously no safety gear and whatnot. We do, ask to stick around that sort of 100k mark. The back straight people sneak up a little bit, but they're generally well behaved and we don't have a lot of problems. We've got a lot of crew out there obviously keeping an eye on things. We've also got the Choice Events taxi stand running at the far end of the pits, which is quite a cool thing that we started a couple of years back, and it's a chance for anyone in the general public that turn up. They can just line up, grab themselves a passenger van and sign in, give them a chance to jump in a Holden or a Ford or a Valiant, get out on the motorsport park. But you know, it is certainly a novelty as well. The burnout pad I can expect is going to absolute hammering all day. I'm excited the most about that. We've also got the race car grip sessions. Guys will chuck on their gear. We won't have as many cars out on track. And then we've also got the drift sessions, which gives the chance that guys probably never have a go at drifting. They'll have a little go, and if they come off onto the grass, that's them done for the day.
The one big concession to the wet weather was the call to scrub the flag drop drags. Racing deemed too dangerous, not to mention a bit pointless under persistent rain. But for the 230 strong field and hordes of spectators, there was plenty else going on to play Plan B. This is the Aussie Assault's 4th outing, and it's grown up fast. The day at the track takes plenty of inspiration from another of Choice Events lineup, the massively popular RE Union. Both offer the chance to get up to plenty of mechanical mischief in a legal setting.
Back in the day, the streets were pretty much the only place. There wasn't a chance really like this. The advancement of track days in New Zealand has extended, and the opportunity to use places like Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park, Hampton Downs, etc. have given the opportunity for people to get out and really use their cars rather than just park them up.
Supporters of Aussie Assault since day dot are the crew from Holden Addiction.
We came to the first one and we've been to everyone since. It's just such a great event, really down to earth, lots of track time, you know, more track time than you can probably handle in a day. You just go away exhausted, so that's awesome. The guys are great to work with, Tony and Guy, so we love supporting them. They support us, and yeah, it's just a great relationship we've had from the start. We're just a group of guys that you know, just have common interests. We love our old Holdens, well, Holdens of all years, categories. Just old, unique, modified, that's what we're about. It doesn't have to be, you know, a $100,000 car. If it's unique, it's cool. And that's really what we look for in the group, you know. That's what really made Holden Addiction. It started off grassroots. Keeping it grassroots is really what it's about for us. Close, tight group is probably around about 20 or 30 cars. But it's just growing. More and more people want to be aboard. We had our first nationals in February with 150 really nice cars come along, and that went down really well. So just goes to show you that it's the popularity for the group is growing, and people want to see the content, obviously, and what we do. So yeah, definitely got to be used. Yeah, the cars are used for drags, burnouts. You know, some of the guys even give the drifting a bit of a crack. So, but yeah, it's really about just getting out and using the cars. They're not trailer queens or anything like that. So yeah, it's important. Give them a good thrashing, give them a good hiding.
And if a thrashing is in order, then it's not too much of a surprise to see this bloke roll through the gates.
Oh mate, Aussie cars are my most favourite. I also own a couple of Falcons as well. 70s Falcons, my favourite cars ever. But Australian built cars, yeah boy. These are one of the best events you can get, you know, because you can jump from event to event. You know, you can drag race, you can drift, you can cruise, you can do burnouts, all in your own time and at your own pace, you know. So, but for me, that has a car built for doing this kind of stuff, this is the perfect event. Yeah, so it's a 2000 Holden Commodore. Originally started as a SS. It's just had a bit of modifications over the years. You know, we're sort of growing and growing and growing. It's running a 6-litre LS block, 871 BDS blower on it, a bit of an intercooler, and then a big and ugly Enderley injection hat. You know, so it's pretty menacing looking.
The Holden has been in a constant state of evolution, as much like the sport itself, things in the burnout world have got a whole bunch more serious of late.
The start of the NZBC in 2017 sort of brought burnouts more to the forefront, and you know, it is a sport, it is a form of motorsport. Some people, you know, don't take it seriously, some people do, you know, but you know, you look at the likes of Australia and stuff where it's huge in Australia. It's big money in Australia, and it's starting to catch on in America now too, where it's also huge. You know, it's gonna be huge. You know, New Zealand a little bit back behind, but we're getting there. The cars are there. You know, the promoters and stuff from events see the value in having cars like this at the events. You know, so it brings the punters in, and you know, it's the good thing about a burnout car is you can go as badass as you want. You know, you don't have to conform to, you know, Warrant, Rego, or bits and pieces. You know, so you can make it as badass as you want. You know, as long as it's safe.
And despite a reputation forged on the battlegrounds of burnout pads around Australasia, it isn't where Hayden spent his day. Like many of the other high-power cars, Nutout had just too many horses to let loose on Taupo's wet surface.
Actually today, my big goal, I've put the back seats back in my car, I've run copious amount of tyres, and today's just about repaying all those that have supported me over the years, and we're going to line up at the Choice Events taxi stand and just try and take as many people cruising out on the track, out on the drift tracks. That's the goal for me today.
The Aussie Assault wraps up with a few awards. Daniel Wilson and his on-rags Commodore taking out the overall Aussie Ace title to back up his win in the burnouts. And Rickster Salmons scored a new set of wheels for his War Dog slammed and cammed Commodore for embracing the spirit of the event. The VX putting plenty on the clock playing taxi, ferrying spectators round Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. There's exciting times ahead for Choice Events and the Aussie Assault community, with plans underway to stretch 2022's event out to 2 days. And a bit more sunshine and it's a surefire winner. Your ride needs some love, we've got you sorted. Thanks to our mates at Maguire's, we have this massive complete car care pack worth over $760 to give away. Plus, a $500 Mount Shop voucher to keep the underside ship-shape too. And to top it off, 1 year subscription to NZ V8 magazine. To enter, simply head to themotorhood.com and hit the Repco Muscle Garage link. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series. Easy. During this year's Repco Supercars Championship season, the garage is your go-to place for all things supercars and motoring. Exclusive content, special guests, and your chance to win amazing experiences at the track. Register your interest today. Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rizlo, high performance additives for high performance vehicles.